War. In the Heartland, it stirs many different emotions. Patriotism was always deep in the spirit of rural America. Was being the most important word. It had always been balanced, the patriotism, with a very fervent distrust of the government. Any official, for that matter. That spirit seems to hold the area now. It's taken over 200 years, but they are finally starting to see the repeating occurrences of poor boys dying to make rich men richer, and powerful men more powerful. The spirit of patriotism seems to be waning. They don't want to believe it they don't want to believe in that any more than when there are so many other more interesting things to believe. It's just not satisfying. Simple patriotism. And boy, doesn't it really rub them city folk the wrong way. Daisy. It's February 1991. You are in camp with the rest of your squad, tucked away in Nasab, an abandoned, war-torn town on the western edge of the neutral zone. This was the first Gulf War. Were you Army?
I was.
A few notable people that are with you. So you know, and for the audiences. Private Wells. Sergeant Dennis McReary. Private Hutchison. Private Kincaid. Lieutenant Pike. Out of that group, who were you the closest to?
Definitely Sergeant McCreary.
Why is that?
You could say we were very close.
Oh.
Well, it starts out as friends and gets a little bit stronger when you get stuck in a hard spot together for a long time.
I see. So you've had moments together, not like war moments, not like... See, my mind went someplace else with that. Thought maybe there was something more that I didn't know.
No, we very much, we got real close. Really, really close.
No.
Do I need to go into detail on that one?
No, I'm sure we may get into it. Now, Private Hutchison, she was the other female in the group, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking through my notes. I don't know why I don't have this written down. I'm showing that you and her had a bet about McReary. What's that about?
Yeah, I was just gonna see who could, well, frankly, have sex with him first, but it's a little more difficult on her end, having a husband back home and all. So I think I had a bit of a leg up on that one.
Not intended. Right.
Learned it from Wales, I guess.
Very nice. Private Kincaid, he was the young one.
Yeah, he was pushed into this for his parents. Didn't really have too much of a drive in his life. Got his girlfriend pregnant, won't shut up about it. So he joined as soon as he was old enough.
I hate that.
It happens. Patriotism.
Right. And how are you, what's your thoughts about Private Wells at that time?
He's annoying as hell, but, you know, sometimes his jokes are funny. I just can't let him know that, or he'll keep making them. He always has a joke for every situation, even if it's serious.
I know what that feels like. People want me to not crack jokes. And Lieutenant Pike, he was your platoon leader?
Yeah, I don't really talk about Lieutenant Pike.
Gotcha.
He wasn't of sound mind.
I think we're going to discover that. These are the ones that you were closest to in your squad. And there you are in war-torn Iraq. Sergeant McReary, you've done very well creating these. He would be a squad leader. Would, you know, he's mentioned that we have to watch our electronic signature, so all we can do is wait, listen for radio every hour or so, and listen to Wells chatter about life. What were you waiting for then?
We were waiting for the go-ahead to continue marching on, basically. Just waiting on orders from higher-ups.
What are your thoughts?
Seeing if we needed to... Go on.
Oh, sorry. We've got like about a 3 or 4 second lag. What are your thoughts about the war?
I don't really have a lot of thoughts about it. I'm here. I get paid to do what I do, to sit around in the desert and the dust and the sand. It's not much my business. I mean, I suppose it is my business considering it is my career and all, but I keep my head low. I keep my opinions to myself. It's war.
Keeping your head low.
What else can you do? Don't call the shots.
Keeping your head low is the number one rule of war. Private Wells is complaining about the sand. Happens to mention, I don't know what you're doing. You're doing something. He sees you bend over, and you hear him say, hey, look, kid, there's sand in the crack of Daisy's ass. Why don't you get some of that out and put it in your little bottle, send it home to your girlfriend?
I dart up immediately and scratch at my butt a little bit. Excuse you?
Well,
what are you suggesting over there, Wells? You really think now's the time when we're stuck here in this? I don't have sand in my crack. Get out of here.
Just thought I'd lighten the mood, and well, I figured sand in the crack of your ass is probably why you were so cranky all the time.
I just glare at him, and he's probably used to my glare, and I'm still like kind of digging because I probably do have sand actually, and I'm not a very shy woman. I like get a little bit out and just like flick it in his direction.
Does Kincaid, is he the shy type, or is he kind of outgoing?
He's very naive, so
A baby.
little more outgoing than he should be, I think. Yeah, he likes to point out the obvious.
He wasn't happy about the comment. McCreary keeps checking almost obsessively the radio for chatter. He gets on there. Checkmate 6 for Echo Romeo. Copy. And he's like doing it about every 5 or 10 minutes.
I'll leave Wells to his joking around, kind of smack him on the arm as I walk past to go join McCreary. Still no word?
No, nothing. Usually I get somebody tell me to sit tight or, you know, keep my powder dry, something stupid like that.
You know, it's usually some kind of protocol to check in, so who knows, maybe they're having a hard time getting signal through all this desert.
Have we ever had any problem getting a signal
Chin
through
up.
this desert before?
I'm trying to be an optimist here, and I don't do that very often, so I say you should just appreciate it and keep your chin up, all right? Maybe take a little break from it. You've been bending your ear to that thing for far too long. You're going to start bleeding.
Yeah, I don't know. And he starts twisting the knobs and trying to get some static and bangs it a little bit on the side. And
well, there you go. It beat that up, and it sure won't work after that.
well, I think it just might. You never know. He tweaks with it a little bit more, keeps repeating his thing. Checkmate 6, checkmate 6, checkmate 6 for Echo Romeo. Copy. Do you copy? Anybody out there? And it's about then that you hear this. It comes through the radio. Hello? Blythe? Wait. This isn't right. Kennedy? And then it clicks and there's a bunch of loud static. And then you hear another voice from elsewhere. Echo Romeo, copy. Mark 4.15.61 at 0450. Copy. McCreary responds. Copy. Thank God I got him. All right. Sit tight, everybody. They're coming a day early, apparently. I guess we were supposed to sit here on our fat asses a lot longer than we even thought we were.
What was? Do we have a Kennedy on the squad?
Who?
Never mind. I just thought I heard them say something at the beginning of that. It was a little strange. Would you shut up and stop being so loud for once?
I don't think we got no new buddy.
Well, obviously, I think I'd notice if someone new walked in. But hey, we heard something, right? Guess we just take what we can get.
That was weird. Why'd you ask about that?
I just thought it was weird is all.
What was weird?
Normally they...
Weird was you asking about some guy named Kennedy that we don't know out of the clear blue. That's weird.
Well, you're the one being awfully weird right now. You didn't hear that? Before the company spoke in, someone asked about, I don't know, Blythe or Kennedy. I just thought it was strange is all. I thought maybe we had someone on the squad with that name. What?
No, there was nothing there. It was just static. What are you talking about?
All right, McCreary. Forget it.
All right. You worry me. I need you, of all these people, I need you thinking straight. She's worried about her husband and not her husband, and that kid over there.
Don't worry, Dennis. I'm here, all right? I just thought I heard something is all, but obviously I didn't. So you're making me a little bit uneasy.
Don't be uneasy. You're all right. Just, I need you hearing real things.
Okay.
Pay attention. That's all.
Damn.
All right. Hit the hay, troops. We have an early call.
I look at him strangely for a moment, but I'm not going to push that. I probably did just hear something weird. I don't know. I'm tired. We've been out in this desert for what feels like weeks. So I just give him a little squeeze on the shoulder and I'll go to bed.
It's kind of tight where you guys have bivouacked for the night. I have to remember some of my old army terms. I was in the army one time. You lay sandwiched between Kincaid and McCreary. If I have my information correct, not a lot of room to sleep in these tight quarters. Kincaid still has hayseed in his hair. What does that mean?
Good question.
Did those come? I thought those came out of your journal. Sometimes I do that. I have bits and pieces of your journal in here. That might have been something that Duke wrote. It may be some term. Kincaid still has hayseed in his hair and keeps a pinch of sand from wherever they sleep to give his girl back home, which is, of course, what Wells was joking about, because everybody knows about the sand. Is that true?
Yeah, everybody knows about the sand because he always talks about it anywhere we go. He says, "Oh, gotta get some sand for my girl back home." Same sentence everywhere we go. We get to the point where as soon as we see him start scooping sand up, we all mouth it before he can even say it himself.
He kind of likes that about you guys. I'm sure that it would give him some sort of comfort. You all...
We tease him, but in all honesty, it's kind of sweet.
You drift off to sleep. It's actually some real solid sleep, real rest. I'm assuming, as it is for the rest of them, it's much the same for you, that in a war, I suppose, real sleep is hard to find. When I was in the army, we would be on just maneuvers, and we would have to sleep with one eye open. So I can imagine if there were going to be real bullets flying around, it would be even worse than that. But on this night, you sleep like a wishful sleep, sleep that you pray for, until a scream. I use the word loosely because there's no real way to sort of describe this sound any other way. It sort of tears through the camp. in these blown out, bombed out, abandoned buildings in Iraq. And now we get a die roll. Let's keep it together.
Oh boy, I gotta find it. There we go. $12.
Oh. So I'm not worried about marking stability at this point. You can take one off if you're going to choose one of those. But what I would like for you to do is just play it out. The scream wakes you. How does that make you feel? What do you do?
Well, instantly there's a fear that goes through me. I'm in a strange place surrounded by possibly enemies, but through training and even just plain old hunting growing up, I spring to action. I'm not gonna run away from it. I'm not gonna keep hiding. Even though I'm scared, I'm gonna get up and push myself away and find my rifle and go towards it.
As you're pushing yourself up, being that you're so tight in that situation, you see that also Kincaid has also sprung up, but not in any sort of alertness that you're exhibiting. He has almost backed up against the wall and has sort of cradled his bottle of sand. McCreary, however, on the other side, of course, jumps up, starts yelling, "All right, everybody get up, come on, grab your shit," and is like, "Where? Anybody? Did you see where they came from? Anybody see where they came from?"
Do I know where it came from?
Well, let's roll something. How about perception? Observe a situation.
Perception.
Let's see if you perceive something.
14.
Well, yeah, it seemed to come from right out front, outside, although the scream sort of, pretty deep scream to raise everybody from such a deep space. Sleep. Stumbling over my words.
Is there any of us missing?
Missing?
Yeah, like, are we all here?
Well, you notice that Lieutenant Pike is not where he had been lying.
I look over at McCreary. All right, so what do you suggest we do? We go after it, right? We see what that was?
Fuck yeah. That was pretty crazy.
Fuck
Did you hear
yeah.
that? We're going to go see what it is. And he's just about to mention to Wells, give him the go to the door signal. And then he turns and sort of looks between you or past you at the kid. Kincaid, who is still, like, I don't know, in shock or something. He's just, like, totally wimped out, leaned up against the wall, babying with his bottle of sand. Do you do anything?
I'll see McCreary kind of look his way, and I'll go over to Kincaid and nudge him with my boot. Come on, kid. Call to action. We gotta go.
I got a bad feeling about this one, Daisy. Something's not right. Did you hear that sound?
I did hear that sound, but we're soldiers. We got to go check it out. We got to make sure the civilians are safe and that we're safe. All right, that's what you signed up for.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I heard that sound before somewhere. That's crazy. What am I going to do with this sand?
All right, well, we don't have time for this. You got to put your damn sand down. Just.
Yeah,
And I crouch in
like
front of
yelling
him
and
put,
grabbing at you. Keep going.
I put like the butt of my rifle on the ground and crouch and just kind of like push McCreary away from me. Are you gonna go back home and tell that girl of yours that you pussied out after hearing someone scream without even seeing what it was first? I don't think so. I think you want to be brave, and I think you want to have stories to tell that child of yours. So put your sand away and get off your ass.
Roll influence another.
Oh, yay, my best trait.
Charisma. I know Daisy's probably got to be.
Young Daisy is a little more charismatic. 11. Rolling very evenly.
You did pretty good. Let me ask you this. Are you, with your words, are you giving him sort of the implication like, kid, if you don't do something, I'm going to, you're going to have to deal with me? Or are you like more like, come on, like emotional, like, come on, it's the right thing to do in your voice?
This is more of a pep talk. Like younger Daisy, she doesn't have her tattoo. She's got brown hair. She doesn't have the scars and the history that she has. She doesn't have the eye patch. Like she's looking at him straight on, and it's her version of a pep talk.
He's like, all right. And he grabs his little pack there and a spare shirt or something like that and wraps his jar of sand in it and puts it away. Seems to like really very attentively puts this thing away. And then he grabs his rifle.
I stand back up and...
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll help him up. I'll stand up and I'll hold out a hand to pull him to his feet.
Yeah, he's following you kind of like a puppy dog. And Wells has, since during this moment between you two, as McCreary's still kind of like trying to like, come on, Daisy, you can hear him saying that sort of stuff from behind you. And there's commotion now as people are getting up and whatnot. And Wells has gone to the door and everybody's like, what was that sound? What was that sound? Was that a scream? No, that wasn't a scream. That was like a tank transaxle or something. There's all sorts of now speculation as to what caused that noise. And then you hear Wells, he's like peeking around the corner with his weapon, and he says, hang on, somebody's coming. And Lieutenant Pike from the darkness outside comes through the open doorway, which is that, it's one of those Iraqi burned out, blown out buildings. It's barely an adobe hut. But he comes in and he's grabbing his arm and there's blood dripping from it. You can even see some blood smeared on him in various places. And it attacked me. It's like a ghoul or a ghost or some fucking Iraqi zombie, something like that. It's like bit my arm.
I'll step forward and kind of grab Pike to like pull him back behind me. Like she's a very much a woman of action. Like might cross the boundaries of like her rank and station sometimes by how much she kind of takes charge. But I'll pull him away and point my gun to where he came from. Did it follow you?
I don't know. I don't even know if it saw me. His eyes were white.
I kind of look over at McCreary with this face of disbelief and shake my head because Pike's been talking a little crazy, but he's he's definitely injured. There's no mistaking that. I see it with my own eyes this time.
Right. Yeah. And he kind of starts
What
to
do you
go.
make of this?
He kind of starts to go towards that edge. McCreary, he's like, I don't know what he's like. Look at his arm. It's a bite. He's lifted his hand a few times, and exposed this wound, and it looks like an injury where a really nice sized chunk of flesh, I mean, probably down to the bone at the bottom of it, is like, but it's like this scooped out, ripped out chunk of flesh from the meaty section of his arm. But McCreary is kind of like, just like, look, and some others are asking him questions. So there's a commotion of people. Why you guys get this moment, and what he's pointing out and kind of indicating is the fact that it is. He's like, I think he did it to himself. He's got a little bit of blood on his corner. Where do you think all that blood from this on his chest? Reach up there and he could just bite that shit out himself. Man's gone crazy, and you can hear Pike in the background. I told you there was evil out there. It found us. It found us.
I watched the darkness where he came out from for quite a while everybody's having their commotion. Like I have my eyes narrowed and I'm trying my best to look, but I can't see in the dark, and I'm just looking through my scope. Do I see anything at all?
And you guys actually have those the night vision equipment, so you can click on your little green screen, as it were. Yeah, it was kind of new, good equipment for you back then. We had a massive military budget.
Definitely turning that on.
Right. And it just looks like it did during the day, only with a bright green tinge. Don't see anything.
Okay. Well, after looking for a while and not seeing anything, I'll slowly lower my gun and turn around and look at them, because, I mean, there's nothing out there. He's been going crazy. Who knows what Pike will do next? I believe it. I believe he'd do it. And I'll go over and join the group and pull a cigarette out of my jacket. It's one of my last ones, but I think this moment called one.
Yeah. Did McReary smoke?
Yeah.
It's a character question.
He's actually someone I got the habit from him.
What an asshole.
Started as a social cigarette thing every now and then.
Right. No, yeah,
well,
I've been there.
When you're in a desert and you don't have much else to do.
No, he comes to join you for the cigarette. I think he did that to himself. You think he did that?
I mean, it's hard to imagine anyone would do that. But I looked, I didn't see anything else out here.
Maybe he's trying to get out. You think he's losing it? Think he's trying to find a way to get home? I never thought he was that kind of a man. Look at him. He looks fucking broke.
Could be. I think that if he's a danger to himself, then he's a danger to us, and we need to keep an eye on him. And I hold the cigarette over for him. You know, I've seen a lot, but that it's hard to believe. But how long have we been out here?
I think I've been out here the whole time. I'm starting to not even remember what it was like to not have sand in the crack of my ass all the time.
Sure could use a shower. Sure could use company that doesn't bite their own arm off.
Goddamn right about that.
So what do we do? Do we do something about this? We can get the med kits out, try to patch it up, I guess.
Yep.
We keep moving on. Do we need to have someone come get him?
No, we're not going to do
Can
anything.
someone even come get him at this point?
No, we're not going to do anything out of the normal. If he's gone down, then that puts me in charge. So we're going to bandage the motherfucker up. We're going to sit tight, keep our powder dry until they get here in the morning. And then we're going to mount up, head on to the next spot.
Well, you being in charge will be one good thing coming out of that.
No, let's just keep an eye on him. I mean, he's technically still in charge, but you know what I'm saying?
I kind of bob my head around and nudge him with my elbow. Does anyone really listen to Pike, though?
I'm just saying, in case it comes up, later in a court-martial or something. That's all. Just
rank and station.
Getting it on the record.
Follow in line.
Right.
All right. Consider the record set.
You guys can finish out your conversation that night, and he's rather pleasant, although you see a bit of concern. And this is where we fade in and fade out, or actually that reversed. Fade out and fade in. We all grab a drink of our beer, and we go to scene 2. I don't have the cool little transition that I will usually do during this moment. We're going to move a little further on in Daisy's backstory, and this time it's a little bit later. You are, and I say a little bit, like days, a couple of days, a day. It's not really important, and they're all a blur anyhow. But it's past that time when the lieutenant had maybe bitten a chunk out of his own arm, or could have been a zombie. You are about 30 clicks from Baghdad and begin to take fire. You're in your convoy of Humvees, just the platoon, and I'm going to put you in the Humvee with McReary. You can hear the lieutenant give orders over the radio to form the Humvees in a defensive position, and everybody starts to circle up. McReary seems to be excited, maybe more than used to. I mean, sometimes he gets all hyped up before a firefight, but he says something. He's like, as I walk through the shadow of death, I bitch slap his ass and then light a cigarette. Let's go.
That's how something fucking happened, am I right?
Yeah, and the gunfire.
I'm equally as excited.
Nice. Gunfire is going out. It's crazy. It's it's what they would have considered an ambush. We in the U.S. Army back then would not have considered such terrible maneuver as a full-fledged ambush, but they did surprise you, so you give them credit for that. Humvees are in a defensive position. There's a little bit of chaos. The new people and such seem to be, I don't know, guns jamming, tripping over this, tripping over that. It's the only way I can describe it to you, Daisy, is that your mother sense kind of pings in your head, because you suddenly get the sensation or this feeling like you're going to have to start taking care of these people for some reason. It doesn't overwhelm you or change any of the actions, but that's a sensation you get. And as this gun battle ensues, I want you to make me an act under pressure roll, and then tell me what you do when this all happens.
$12. So average today.
Yeah, so considering that with a 12, what does this say? You do whatever it is you're going to do, but hesitate or delayed or must deal with a complication. Tell me about a complication during that moment at the beginning of that gun battle.
So am I kind of near the others, or am I just near McCreary?
Well, the battle starts. Everybody gets in position. McCreary is kind of like acting like some sort of, I don't know. He's like Robert Duvall in Apocalypse Now. He's standing up, bullets whizzing by his head, and he's just shouting orders. Lieutenant Pike is on the radio, radioing in the location and the situation. McCreary is giving orders to the newbie, cussing and yelling at these guys. So you tell me, with all of that happening, what would Daisy do? What does Daisy do?
Well, first off, damn if I'm not attracted to that man. But she does get that motherly sense with some of the younger ones, and one of them, she hears their gun click, showing that there's empty ammo, and she tosses ammo over to them. And then she sees another one struggling with their gun. She's like, "Take your damn safety off!" like yelling over the fire. And she gets up to join McCreary and just kind of kicking ass. And then after a few bullet shots, turns out that I'm out of ammo, and I gave my last ammo to Kincaid.
Oh.
And so I'll just like, shit, fuck, like a slur fest, just like, God damn it, and slump back down behind the RV and kind of crawl, like army crawl through the desert to try to make my way into the side of the RV and find a new gun and new bullets, something that I can help use to attack these guys with.
Yeah, you get over to the Humvee, and you're able to get the door open.
I think I said RV.
Yeah, you did. It's all right.
Wow, wow, family vacation.
I liked it. Clip that, please. And so, yeah, you reach in and you're feeling around for it. The first kid that you saw, not Kincaid, but one of the other unnamed platoon members that are in this group with you, because there are others, just for the audience sake, it's not just these 5 people, there are other people in the platoon. However, these are the important characters. So you hear him scream like he's in pain, and just in your instinct, you kind of look back about the time that you feel the box of ammo where you think to feel it, and you look back over your shoulder to see exactly what sort of situation that kid is in, and you can see that he's been shot in the neck, and he's no longer screaming. He's dropped his weapon, and he's got his hand up to his throat, and you can just see a just gout of blood squirting, just between his fingers as he's like moving his hand, trying to find some way to get it to stop. What do you do?
I sort of hiss between my teeth when I see this happen, and there's this inner battle between grabbing the bullets and continuing to defend, and then going and saving the kid. But I've got a little bit more heroism in me at this point in my life. So I do grab the bullets and just kind of shove them in my jacket pocket next to the nearly empty box of cigarettes, and I'll rush to the kid and see if I can, I don't know, stop the bleeding somehow, put my hands to his throat and hold it tightly, maybe find some kind of fabric on him that I can tear off and tighten.
Yeah, you don't even...
Maybe if I can stop the blood for a minute, get him help.
I love that you're going to try. It's when you get there, you know that it's not going to happen, and you think that maybe you can get some cloth torn off to do that, and that's what you want to do. It's not really going to happen. He's going to bleed out long before that. It's a through and through on his neck. That's why he's bleeding all over the place, sort of trickling on one side, but it's squirting on the other. And you can tell from the entry of the wound that the bullet had to have come from the other side, giving you this instinctive moment with this poor kid that this ambush may be worse than you thought. You can hear Sergeant McCreary yelling at you even Daisy, what the fuck are you doing? They're this side. And you can, I wanted to say feel. It doesn't hit you, but another bullet comes by from the opposite direction. There seems to be bullets coming from almost all sorts of directions. But somebody is shooting from that way. Are you going to return fire?
Well, I get to the kid and I'm just covered in blood and I kind of fumble and I'm like, no, don't you fucking die. And it's helpless. And I already know that it's helpless as I'm trying to fumble for it. But it's not my first time seeing this. And so I take a shaky breath, but otherwise move on. I rip his dog tags from around his neck and stuff that away and instead grab his gun instead of worrying about loading my gun. And yeah, I'll get up and I'll try to find whatever direction this bullet came from and shoot.
A lot of things happen at the same time in this moment, Daisy, and for the audience. You turn to return fire at the enemy who is shooting from the opposite direction, having sussed out that there's some sort of real ambush here than what you initially had thought while the others are doing their thing. Almost you feel the need to protect, I would imagine, from this side since you figured it out. When you aim, you don't see an enemy combatant. You see something else. It looks sort of human in that it is human colored skin. There are no clothes on this thing and it is on all fours. And when you look at it through your sight, it's looking at you. And you know it. You can see its eyes. But there are no eyes. It's just skin. But it's looking at you. It even starts to adjust its body to point in your direction as it was going the other way. You shoot it?
There's a bit of a moment of hesitation because I did not expect that, and it throws me for a loop a bit. And I just had I had a kind of a loose grip on the rifle, but I tighten my grip and I'm scared. It's unnatural, and yeah, hell yeah, I shoot at it. Especially when it turns to me like that.
All right. You shoot at it and you sense that it starts to dart off, but you don't get to see it dart off, and your bullet goes wide because right at that moment, Lieutenant Pike grabs you from behind your shoulder, and he has got this just crazed look in his eyes. You can see that the wound on his arm has been seeping through the bandage, and he's like, "We got to get out of here. Something's not right. Something's not right."
What the hell were you doing? When I turn to make a shot, you do not grab me like that, Pike. I don't care about your station or your... And I kind of dodge. I, like, duck down because there's still bullets flying, like, while I'm yelling at him. I don't care that you're a fucking lieutenant. You do not do that.
He's looking at you as if he doesn't even... He's not even really paying attention. Behind him, there is an explosion from a mortar. Boom. Inside the perimeter of your Humvees. And you see Kincaid was close to where the mortar shell erupted. As you are yelling at Pike, Pike ducks down. Right as the moment of the impact, it blows up. You can see Kincaid sort of, well, you see part of him go in this direction and you see part of him go in that direction. the gunfire stops.
I mean, I scream. I instinctively, even though I was just yelling at him, I instinctively duck over Pike to protect him like I do for most people. But the last thing I see is Kincaid. And I had a soft spot for the kid. As much as he was annoying, talking about his girlfriend all the time, he was going to have a daughter. He was going to have a future. And I scream. You just hear this like shrill, like no, just ring throughout the whole desert. And if the explosion wasn't enough to cause a ringing in your ears, the scream definitely is.
You see, McCreary turns to you. He has a look in his eyes, and it is of sincere concern. He doesn't say anything, though. He's not the type. And then he comes over in order to, as a gesture of relieving you of the situation, he grabs Pike and is like, "God, get up. What the goddamn, come on, Lieutenant. What the hell," and sort of is trying to, encourage him to lead like he's supposed to. And everybody sets about the task of whatever cleanup you do after a gunfight.
I don't really look at McCreary or look at anyone. I just kind of stay crouched and pick up my gun, and I'll walk around and search through the bits that was Kincaid, and I'll find his dog tags, and I'll put him in my pocket if they're intact.
Yeah. I want you to roll for me. Let's do investigate if you want.
Investigation 2.
This is just, yeah.
Kincaid never had dog tags.
No, you look, and you're trying to find these. You search in the obvious places that I would have told you had you asked a question, or where your gut would tell you that they are. Daisy's a relatively smart and instinctual type person, and you do find them. But it is a terrible experience that Daisy goes through, discovering where they are. You do have to find the upper half of him, and you do. And, yeah, he's kind of like, missing one shoulder through. It's still got an arm attached. Sort of reminds you of the Alien movie when the cyborg had his head knocked off and was stuck on the ground. You also, Daisy, get this sensation that something is watching you, and you keep hearing this strange clicking noise in the back of your mind. Click, 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 click. It's rather disturbing.
Yeah, I'll take a moment over his upper half. Just kind of shut down for a little bit as I gather the dog tags, and I'm just kind of like slightly twitch hearing the clicks, but I'm not in the right mind right now. I'm racked with shock and grief and adrenaline, and an explosion was just there, so I'm not sure what I'm hearing. I still have that ringing in my ears, but I'll look around when I feel something looking at me. I'll look around the area and see if I see anything.
Every once in a while, you think you get a glimpse of one of those things that you saw, but it could just be, tricks of the mind, having been through such a thing. Eventually, everything is policed up that you would. The bodies are dealt with appropriately and per protocol. I'm not going to get into all those details, but you guys take care of your business and then continue on your way, because that's what you do in war. And eventually you driving through the desert on your way to the next location, which seems like you should have been at hours ago is what it feels like. But you cross over yet one more dune into another valley that it looks like another battle has taken place in recently. There's some burnt out vehicles, and there are bodies that are still on the ground, and the few vultures that fly around in this particular area are having a feast. The convoy stops. Everybody kind of gets out to check around, as the lieutenant seems to be very interested in this. Make me a roll plus soul.
$13.
Do you get out and look around?
Yeah. Are we planning on making camp here? Or are we just stopping to look around, investigate, see what happened?
Who do you ask?
McCreary.
It's like, I don't know.
I know that Pike's still technically in charge, but...
Right. No, well, yeah. No, I don't know what the hell he's doing. He wanted to stop. He keeps talking about this evil. I don't know. I don't know. I'll get these guys. We'll patrol this thing, and then we'll get the hell out of here. No, I want to get moving on. We're not staying here. We got to get another 2 hours down the road.
Dennis, I was shooting and he stopped me. Before the explosion, before Kincaid, God rest his soul.
He stopped you.
I saw something, and he full on grabbed my rifle from me. Right as I was lining up a shot, right as I was about to shoot the enemy, he... What kind of soldier, what kind of lieutenant does that?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to, when we get back to the base, I'm gonna talk to the first sergeant about this, because this is getting out of hand. We don't need to stop here. We're just asking to get our asses fucking canned in this place. Stopping here to look around like this.
All right, well, what do you suggest I do? Should I...
I'm gonna take these guys and go around there. No, I want you to just see this, hit this, walk these trenches down this one side, make sure there's not been anybody through there.
All right.
We'll take this side.
All right.
Let's just get it done quick. Get the fuck out of here.
All right. I'm with you. And I smile at him, and there's another little reach over and shoulder grab that I always seem to do before I part ways with Dennis. And I'll go and follow orders. Walk along the trenches.
Yeah. It happens. You've seen a lot of these alongside the roads, around small villages. Sometimes they're filled with gross water. Sometimes they're dry. You never expect to see what you see on this day. And the only reason I haven't made you roll about 1,000 keep it togethers is because you've been very forthright in telling us exactly how Daisy feels about stuff. And it's always been in the less than 15 range, so I've been gleefully accepting of it. Just in case anybody's out there going, hey, where's the keep it togethers? I'm gonna have you roll.
I'm a strong woman.
Yeah, I am gonna have you roll one for me now.
Okay.
I'm tempting fate that you might roll better than a 15, but since you
11.
Yeah, since you're helping me
Oh, no criticals.
no crits. Since you're helping me create this story, you already kind of know what you see in these trenches, and it is an unexpected sight. It is dead bodies. And it wasn't just a few dead bodies, it was a lot of them. Is that right?
Yeah. When you leave a certain battleground and you no longer have uses for the trenches, but too many bodies to bury, it just, I guess to some people it makes sense to throw them in there. But that's not what the cameras show you. When the reporters and the like come down to point their cameras around at everything going on in the camps, they always avoid showing you the trenches. It's not a sight you get used to seeing.
What's the most number of bodies, can you guess, that you've seen in one of those?
I mean, I don't exactly sit there and count, but it's got to be 100 maybe, dozens at least.
Right. No, the question was more just so that...
Enough to fill them.
Yeah, just so that you could gauge this next part, and that is that this particular trench that you're looking at is like almost heaped over. It's like the most you've ever seen. It's unimaginable, the number of bodies.
Hard to tell who's friend or foe in those two.
That's a really good question. Why don't you make me a perception roll?
Perception?
Yeah. And I don't know why I do this. I could
14.
I could just do whatever I want, but for some reason I have this D&D urge to make you roll some sort of skill check to see if you see what I'm about to tell you that you're going to see, whether you rolled a 9.
Hey, it's your game.
15. I know. I
like it.
I'm just doing so like this immediate self-critique that Duke is writing down on his list to tell me don't do that. Right at this very moment. And yeah, lots and lots of bodies. You see this. You look closer and you think that you might see American soldiers in the mix. You're pretty sure that that arm could be one of your uniforms. How does that make you feel? Do you want to do anything about that?
I mean, there's a certain somberness to it. I've got this thing about the dog tags, as you might have picked up on. I keep the tags of those who have fallen that I've worked closely with. So I'll be patrolling and I'll kind of pass by it and glance its way and then keep going on my way and then backtrack. Because I think I catch a little bit of the uniform and take a minute to doubt myself. But then I'll slowly approach and kind of dig my hand in to see if I can pull the dog tag and see if I recognize who it is.
Yeah. That's not a pleasant experience. You kind of have to crawl out there just a little ways. So you got to kind of like work your way over a couple of bodies. Well, really over the top of the pile of bodies, I suppose, so that you can get just a little bit.
I like put my shirt up over my nose.
Yeah. It's pretty terrible. You slip, your hand slips off of something because you got to kind of crawl over there. You can't walk over there. You have to kind of do it on all fours. So your hand slips, and when you pull it up, it's in like this brownish, yellowish goo liquid, you know, that's kind of like smeared on your hands now. It's probably old I don't know. It's, you know,
Oh.
human fluids that are gone past their expiration date. And
Oh, I'll definitely slip back a little bit in surprise and like quickly wipe my hand and just like I definitely feel like that would make me barf as strong stomached
you
and
might.
iron willed.
Now I'll have you roll me a
I all I wanted was a dog tag. I didn't want human fluids on it.
roll me a willpower or a coolness. I'll take either one to see if you puke. Just because
I did roll a 20.
Nice.
I keep
All
it
right.
together.
Any chance I get to possibly make Daisy puke, I will.
Okay.
It is a miserable experience.
I feel a little bit of an iron taste in my mouth. But I guess it doesn't get that far with the 20.
No. You can...
I definitely want to change my shirt as soon as possible.
You get the dog tag. It is not pleasant. And as you are getting yourself away now, feeling, you know, the heebie-jeebies, and you know, are getting out of that spot, and you're going to get off, and you're going to get this done. You got the dog tags. You can feel safe with your conscience. You feel some pressure around your throat, as if somebody is trying to choke you or strangle you. One-handed. When you reach up instinctively.
Well, about yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to let you have it. You reach up instinctively, and you grab a hand. It's not attached to a body.
I'm pulling that thing off of me. I don't care if it leaves fingernail streaks on my throat or anything. Like, that's freaky. I'm yanking it off.
Right now,
like, dropping the dog tags in the process.
You might. Now I do want you to roll act under pressure.
Okay. 19.
19. You do.
War Daisy.
You pull this off. However, I want you to now roll endure injury with a -1 harm. It's just one hand, and it does drag its claws. Its black fingernails that have grown out past death.
10.
And you take a pretty serious gash on your neck. I mean, it's not, you're not gonna like bleed out from it. You don't need, but it's going to be noticeable. They'll see it. You're gonna get a little bit of blood and stuff to trickle out there, but you achieve your purpose. You pull this thing off, and what do you do with it? You get this hand pulled off. You're holding a like.
Is it still moving?
Yeah, it's just like straight out of the 50s TV shows, you know, like The Thing or whatever it is, and they've got it's like wriggling and like still trying to find.
If it's wriggling, I am throwing it on the ground and stomping on it. Like, if it wasn't moving, I would have just thrown it back in the pile and left it there. But like, it's my first instinct is like, holy fuck, stop moving.
Right. Yeah, I'll let you do that. It's weird. No, that's never happened to you before, has it? A hand?
No, it hasn't. It's definitely unnerving. So yeah, she yanks it off, and I'm like breathing a little heavy because I was just choked, and throw it on the ground. And wearing the same kind of steel-toed boots that I still wear in my old age, I just stomp the shit out of it. And then when I'm done with that, I slowly lift my boot and take a few steps back from it. And the dog tags are forgotten on the ground at this point, probably already getting buried in a new layer of sand.
Hand isn't moving, but one thing does occur to you, and I'm curious, Daisy, how you feel about this, is what are you going to tell your troop about your injury? They already, McCreary already thinks Pike is losing it to the point of chewing a chunk out of his own arm. And now you're going to go back and tell them that some hand jumped out of a massive pile of dead bodies and attacked you?
I might say something to McCreary, but to the rest, I just hope that they won't ask. And if they do, I don't know, something got the jump on me. I took care of it, though.
So, what do you tell McCreary? McCreary.
Well, first off, would he have asked, do you think?
Oh, he notices right away. You're kind of hoping that he doesn't, but it's like almost even before you can even get the chance to like feel some anxiety. He's like, "What the fuck happened to you? Is that?" And he's like coming over, like starting to look. Is that blood? What the hell happened to you? I didn't hear nothing.
Yes. It's, you gotta promise to listen and not interrupt, because you're a fan of interrupting. I know this. I've known you for a long time, so just.
All right.
Dennis. I was walking the trenches, like you said, doing a bit of patrol, seeing if there was anything odd, anything out there, maybe stuff we could use. And I know it's stupid, but I saw a uniform, one of ours. And these dog tags are a symbol. They mean something. They mean that we fight for our country. And if I can get these and I can get them back to people's families, it's a little piece of every soldier. It's definitely not them, but it's what they stood for. I don't know. So I so dumb. I climbed in and I approached the uniform and I tried to grab his tags. I thought maybe it would be someone that we recognized. And when I stepped back, I was, it sounds crazy to say, but again, no interrupting. Wait till I'm finished. There was a hand on me, but and I kind of lower my voice some more and take him a few steps back away from the others out of earshot. It was a hand that wasn't attached to anybody, but it was choking me, Dennis. It wanted to kill me. And then I kind of wait for his reaction.
Hand.
Yes, a hand.
Huh.
It was probably nerves. It was probably someone who was dead, and I guess, nerves in the body act weird. I'm not a doctor by any means.
Yeah, that's probably it, Daisy. Yeah, you're probably right. When we get back to base, I think we may have to have you looked at too.
No.
I'm just for your own.
Don't you start that with me.
For your own safety.
I'm one of the most able-minded people here, Dennis. I
know, but you just told me that some disembodied hand tried to choke you out.
Because that's what happened, and I thought I could. We're supposed to be able to talk. You know what? Never mind.
Listen, I don't like this spot.
I'm probably just making up stories.
These hills and shit are driving me crazy. There's rocky high hills.
Mm-hmm. I probably just need some water. I probably just need some sleep. I didn't sleep well last night.
Yeah, that's probably
Kincaid, and at this point, I'm just like making up excuses. But I know what I saw. But I don't want Dennis to think I'm crazy.
Right.
So
there's a little bit of commotion as everybody starts to gather back up. You see Lieutenant Pike. He comes up to you and offers you like a scarf. I suppose in the army it's probably more like one of those sand cravat things that they had, you know, that you might wrap around your face or something to keep the sand from blowing out. And you hadn't had this conversation with him, but he hands you this and says, "I believe you." There's evil out there.
Thanks. I
You gonna
know
watch
that's
it?
what you keep saying.
Yeah.
All right, Pike. I appreciate it, and I reach out and I take it from him and put it around my neck. What do you mean by there's evil out there? You
You,
keep saying that. You keep being ominous. What do you mean?
he starts to tell you, and then you hear McReary from over at the convoy yell out, "Sandstorm!" which is sort of odd. And
Great.
about the time you turn to look at where he's looking, it's, you know, usually you see that you feel some breeze blowing in ahead of it. That's not here this time, or at least this happens so fast that you don't get that moment of recognition, and this storm is on you. And this is there's sand blowing, there's lightning, the wind is nuts, there's rain, just this torrential rain to where your visibility is probably, I don't know, 10 15 feet in front of you, with dust and sand blowing around. You're gonna have to put goggles on, and then you've got, you know, the rain and stuff on top of that. You can't even see anybody else. You do, however, it's hang on, I'm checking my notes. I lost my place. There are a few of you lost in this storm, and you're trying to gather you're trying to gather people up. I mean, you can't find people. You and the group of people that I mentioned at the start of the show, I think you all found each other. You, Hutchison, Wells. You can hear people yelling in the storm, almost out of fear sometimes. It is pretty, I'm assuming this was a scary moment. Daisy, you lived through it. Somebody finds a cave.
A storm's a storm. At this point in my life, I'm not too worried about storms. I grew up in the Midwest. You get a lot of crazy thunderstorms there. I mean,
Right.
This one's more thick than normal, and I put my goggles on, I gather my gear, and it's certainly chaotic.
Very. Somebody found a cave. Who found the cave?
I believe it was Pike.
That's what I thought. The few of you find this cave, and you have found shelter. Shelter from the storm. For all you Bob Dylan fans out there, there's only 5 of you. You're soaked. Your guns are waterlogged. You're in pretty bad shape. Wells is pretty confident that you're going to be found. And we're going to go to break, and it is on, it's kind of his words I want to hang on as we go to break, and we'll come back and see what happens. That Wells says something about they'll all find us and we'll all look back at this and laugh. We just got to wait out the storm. In some sort of bit of hidden optimism. And yeah, we're going to take a quick break because I got to go to the bathroom. And we'll be right back. we are back. Thank you, everybody. All right. It's been about a week. You've been in the cave. The storm is still raging outside. The 5 of you have been basically trapped. I have hunkered down written, but I'm thinking that I don't even know if that's the right word at this point. If it's storm still going on, you can't go anywhere, you're trapped. You, Pike, Hutchison, McReary, Wells. Kincaid's dead. Today, the last meal that you had was a crumbled granola bar. The water from the storm that you guys have been able to sort of harvest through the door the best that you can get some semblance of fresh water, tastes like metal and smells of sulfur. Pike was going crazy, wasn't he? Talking gibberish. I refer to Daisy's journal here.
Yeah, he already didn't make too much sense, but he was making less and less sense. Every once in a while you'd hear him say there's evil out there, and the rest, hard to tell.
Over and over. Has that always been like that? That's gonna drive me crazy. Hang on a second. My obsessiveness is kicking in. Nope, I knew something was wrong.
I mean, you know that Pike was of sound mind. Oh yeah, I see what you're talking about there. He was of relatively sound mind at one point. He was a good leader. He obviously got promoted to lieutenant for a reason. But ever since we got here, just a few days in, he just started acting not himself. I've lost a lot of respect for him.
It is concerning.
Of course there's evil out there.
Right.
In a war.
In a war, he keeps talking this gibberish. It's going on. It's almost starting to get upsetting. On this particular day, however, or actually, I should say it goes into night. We're going to kind of blur through some time here, as that time period for you was sort of a blur in its own way anyhow. So if it feels not understandable to the audience, that's exactly how it feels to Daisy at this particular moment. But this night was particularly marked in that this was the night that Wells woke up screaming. Or you all woke up to his screaming, and him with this wound on his side. It was, well, why don't you describe the wound for us, Daisy?
It was like nothing I'd ever really seen before. The closest I could compare it to is maybe, I don't know, a bobcat of extraordinary size. I know that's maybe not the greatest comparison, but that's all I could think of at the time. But it was 3 long gashes, like claw marks, and it didn't just graze the top of his skin. It went through and it tore through his clothes, and it went, and you could see, I swear that if you peeled apart his skin a little bit and really, really looked inside of the wound, you could see bone and you could see muscle. It was that deep. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before. It was a bobcat. It wasn't. It's probably a rabbit one. I don't know. We've been hearing strange things out in the rain, strange wailing and hissing and few things here and there deeper in the cave, but it's mostly been out in the rain. So my best guess is that maybe some kind of creature came out of the storm trying to find refuge, and he was the closest one to the mouth of the cave.
Yeah,
it was bloody.
You've heard some stuff. You've heard those clicking noises at odd times when you shouldn't. And Wells is going on as if he received this wound while he was sleeping in a nightmare. And pardon me?
I just don't see how that could be possible. That's the thing is I sit there and I listen to Wells, and he's always kind of a jokester, you know. So it's hard to believe half the shit he spouts off anyway, but the severity of the gashes,
Right. Wells
I don't know what to make of it.
Wells reminds me of the Bill Paxton character from Aliens, which is the Alien sequel. That's who he reminds me of. I can see him and man, we're all gonna die, man. We're all gonna die, man. This ain't no good, man. This ain't no good. We're all gonna die. You know what I mean? Going after his side.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh, you shut the fuck up, Wells. You're still living. You're still breathing. You're fine. Come over here and I'll get a look at it. Weren't you the optimist? Where's that, huh? Take your shirt off.
He just continues to wail and fit like a child. But he does the small things that you ask. While you're tending to him, McCreary seems to just take kind of charge. Pike is still pacing around and muttering. At some point, there was one of those noises from outside, only louder and close, and Pike actually shot his rifle out into the storm. As I backtrack on some of my notes, some details that I've missed, but McCreary is he's like, all right, we're gonna have to decide, are we gonna get out of here and brave whatever the fuck is out there in the storm, or are we gonna try to go in deeper into the caves and see if our hope lies there? Is he gonna be all right? Would somebody tell him to shut the fuck up?
Which one? And I'm like helping the wailing Wells while Pike is out there muttering.
He's loony. I don't know what he's gonna do.
You know, Pike, put the gun down. You're wasting ammo.
Hutchinson is crying. And Wells immediately, he's like, man, we gotta get out of here. I ain't going into the caves. We can't go into the caves. I gotta get out of here. And Hutchison also wants to go. Pike is ready to go in the caves deeper, strangely enough. And they're all kind of looking at you.
I've helped Wells with his wound, and I'm contemplating, and I've got like my eyebrows are like knit together, and at this point in my life, I still have some faith, and so I'm kind of saying a silent prayer to God to help kind of guide me to make this decision. And Wells himself is a faithful man, and so I reach out and I take his hand and I give it a squeeze. We'll be all right. All right. Remember your faith, remember your church, remember your family, all right? As long as we still have God, we'll make it through this. But I don't see that storm letting up anytime soon, and we need to find something to eat. We can't go out there. All that's out there is desert and rain and whatever is. And I sort of pause and hesitate as another one of those strange wails just echoes across the desert outside. Whatever that is, we can't even see out there. So we obviously can't stay here anymore. We gotta go. And I look up at McCreary kind of for help, like almost pleading. We got to do something. And while we still have light, while we still have some kind of energy, I think we should go further in the cave.
That settles it then. Let's go. Everybody, Let's get up. Let's go. Is he mobile? Can we move him yet? Can you walk well? Is he gonna be all right?
He'll be fine. I'll help him.
You got God on your side. That was faith with a capital F, right? That's the one thing that actually finally gets Wells to almost calm down and stop blathering on. And that's the moment that your group, with a little bit of faith, capital F faith, which those of us around here at the KULT channel offices scoff at. Just being creepy. The days in the cave are a blur. The caves, as you go through tunnels and tunnels.
They say the further we get, the more I start regretting my decision, kind of doubting myself, but I never voice it. I help Wells. I give Hutchison the last of my water, whatever kind of water I had in my pack. I give McCreary my final cigarette, begrudgingly. I kind of keep my distance from Pike. At some point, I even find myself singing, and I haven't sang for years since church choir back in Providence when I was growing up. That old Amazing Grace, and you just hear my voice in silence ringing, echoing off of the silent cave walls, anything to keep some kind of sound to break through that silence. And it's dark and quiet, and it's just us. And I try to keep mark of the days in the back of the journal that I have, but it's hard to tell when it's light. It's hard to tell when it's nighttime. Eventually we lose track of the calendar days. I don't even know if it's spring, summer, winter, fall. I think I've had a birthday. I don't know how old I am anymore.
They blend together. There is some strange, weird light. You don't know where it comes from, but it seems to be enough light in these caves for you to write by. Maybe your eyes are just getting used to the pitch black. I'll leave it up to the imaginations. There was one day when
I do have a flashlight, but it eventually probably runs out of battery.
It would.
But I use that to write most of the time. But we want to conserve the battery so we don't keep it on when we're just traveling.
I love that you mentioned that, because I'm gonna use that now as the catalyst for what happened on this particular day. When you get up to jot some notes down in your journal, it's rather early. You had given your last little bit of water to Hutchison, we'll say, just like the day earlier. And Hutchison, I keep saying Hutchinson, it's Hutchison, is not there when you get up. And as you're looking around is when you realize, one, the batteries are going to die on your flashlight pretty soon. And then you hear McCreary say, "Where's Hutch? Where's Hutch?" I'm assuming we called her Hutch. I would call her Hutch. McCreary calls her Hutch. Hutch.
Yeah.
God damn it. Where did she go? She's too fucking scared to run off in the dark alone.
I kind of shake my flashlight as the light starts blinking, and like I'll also join in calling out for her, like, "Hutch!" and kind of go the opposite way of the cave that McCreary is. And I'll like do the thing where you try to unscrew the flashlight and take the batteries out and kind of rearrange them and put them back in as I'm walking.
Yeah. You do that just as you get the batteries back in, and the flashlight comes on with a pretty good burst of light. You trip and fall. And when you look back to see what that big lump of shit was that you just tripped over, you realize it is Hutchison's body, or what was left of it. Why don't you tell us what you saw?
So
'Cause you do it better.
I fall over, and right at that time was right when I was reattaching the flashlight, pushing the batteries in, rescrewing, right as I trip over and kind of fall on my ass with another slew of swears in classic Daisy fashion. And the light is flickering and blinking on as I turn around, disgruntled to see what I find. And I see her, and it's gruesome, and it's hard to tell that it's her at first. But she's got a red bandana around her wrist that she always has for some reason. And I slowly crawl forward, and I've just got this air of disbelief as I shine what's left of my light over, and I see a tattooed wedding ring on her left finger. And I know that's Hutch. But I can't make out her face. I can barely make out her upper body at all. It looks like it's been absolutely torn and ravaged to pieces. And it's not like the claws that happened on Wells. It's like a crazed animal got to her, and not a bobcat, but a hound. And there's just like an eye hanging from the side, barely hanging on by a string, and you see some of her mouth frozen as if she was about to scream, but we didn't hear anything. We didn't hear any screams. We didn't even hear her disappear. And I start crawling backwards on my hands, shaking my head, and I shine the light over, and I see another body, and it's, strangely enough, a German Shepherd. I recognize it. I had a lot of dogs growing up. Like we tend to know good dogs. German Shepherds are good dogs, and Hutch herself had one back on her farm with all her kids and her husband. She had a German Shepherd. She would always talk about that dog like it was part of her family. It was a beautiful beast, and I don't know what killed it. There wasn't hardly any blood on it, except for around its mouth, on its fangs. And it floors me. How did we not hear this? How did we not? If there was a dog here, how did the dog get here? How long has that dog been here? How did we not hear anything? And I can't come to terms with it. And it takes me almost too long to say anything about it because I'm just in such a state of shock. Dennis, I found her.
What the hell? Good God.
And I strangely enough noticed that the dog looks healthy and strong and big. It's so big. It's like maybe twice the size of any German Shepherd. Not that I've seen a German Shepherd in a long time, but it seems supernaturally large. And I could almost swear that it's still breathing, and I have to rub my eyes to see that no, it's dead, but it's huge. And how could something like that survive in here?
Hey, you know,
I don't.
we haven't. It's been 4 days since we've had food. That granola bar was like
Oof.
2 days ago.
I take my light off of the dog and shine it up. Is it Pike who's talking, or McCreary?
McCreary.
Dennis, what are you? You
I think we ought to.
can't be.
Yeah. Well, we may be here. How long we been in here? You don't know. It's been
Jesus
days,
Christ.
weeks. Who knows? We're gonna starve to death and die.
I don't know
Eventually-
how long.
Well, until Pike kills us
Well,
and eats us.
that's the thing. We should have. It's been and in some kind of weird moment of trying to make some sort of logic, but I just confused myself more. I put the little flashlight in my mouth and I pull out my journal and I look through the back and I see these multiple tally marks of what I think has been our days, and there's too many to make sense of. And I know that I'm so hungry, but by the amount of tally marks, we should have logically died from hunger long ago.
She got her dog tags. Do you see her dog tags?
Yeah. I'll
get a dog tags.
Okay. But we need a fire.
You go take the dog tags, and we'll find something to do with the fire. Leave me the flashlight. I'll take care of this.
No, you're not. And I kind of swallow back a bit of bile. I've got that like iron taste in my mouth as I get up off my butt and I grab the dog tags and I fumble for my knife. Dennis, I told you I'm with you. You're not gonna. Oh God. We can't. You're right. We can't let her go to waste. I'm gonna help. I'm helping you.
All right.
Whatever you need.
I'm gonna let that scene hang there. I think that gives the audience as much information as about that day in the night in your particular life. But I will ask you this: you weren't hungry anymore, were you?
No, the dog itself, when we try to cut into that because it seemed the most logical way to get food, the meat was spoiled and some of it just went into dust. But Hutchison, she had plenty.
We're going to skip ahead to another event that happened at some point. Again, the time seems to be a bit of a blur, and you're right. It's not right. You should have died already. Perhaps you already are. And this is something else. But on this particular day, Wells fell. He tripped on a crack in the cave floor, a rock or something, and hurt himself pretty bad, twisted his ankle up, doesn't think he can go on any longer, and he's telling you guys to just leave me here, man. Just it's all over for me, man. It's not, you guys just keep going. Maybe you'll find a way out of here. These fucking caves just go on and on and on.
I was helping him again, and he kind of slips from my arms as he just goes to the cave floor. And I look at him, and I'm pretty ragged at this point, covered in blood from all kinds of scenarios and dirt and sweat. And I'm definitely more short, a little more angry.
Right.
What are you talking about? Get up.
He just kind of, he's
well,
not
we
even
come this damn far.
Almost not even forming sentences anymore, as you can sort of almost see that he's just kind of lost his will. You don't see that often, except like when you put a bullet in somebody, you can kind of see that moment when it's like, okay, it's over. But this is more drawn out. Also, Pike has pulled McCreary to the side behind you, and their conversation seems to be getting louder and louder as you are seeing the end of Wells through Wells, and Pike just flat out says, no, we're going to just kill this motherfucker and eat him. That's what we're going to do. I think that was McCreary's voice, but it was Pike that says it.
That snaps something in me, because Wells has always been the heart of this team. Like, he's always been the one on the tough days who cracked a joke or was the optimist, and I'm kind of just, it's just click, 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 click in the back of my brain, and I just feel so many things, so many feelings and thoughts, and I can't make sense of any of this, and I'm pissed. And so I don't even think. My vision just goes red and white and black and all kinds of weird colors. And I'm on Pike, and I just absolutely clobber him across the face. Big fist right on his cheek.
Wanting to hurt him?
Yeah. There's just this violent urge that overcomes all of my other sensibilities. And I've had enough.
You tear into Pike because he wanted to use Wells like you used Hutchison, I think were the words that he said. You do tear into him and you continue to pound on him. And there was so much that happened in those caves with Daisy. And you know this, Daisy. But I'm speaking it out loud for our audience out there. That we couldn't fit it all into one solo episode. It's just not enough. There's the ever-growing feeling of the sensation of watched, the pressures, all of those sensations that we talked about at the beginning. None of that stuff ever went away. That clicking sound that you mentioned constantly in the back of your mind. And because I have got just a whole lot of filmmaker in me, it is that clicking noise that continues as the screen goes black and we fade in to Providence, our current Heartland time. And Daisy is carving on a chunk of wood and is sort of entranced almost, because the wood that you're carving on, this particular wood that you're carving on, and I'll tell you what it is here in a moment, but because of this particular wood that you're working on, as you cut into it, carving this thing, it's making this clicking noise. And that's the sound as we pull away from Daisy in 91 in this madness of an eternity, what it seems like in these caves, as the people around her are dropping or tearing into each other violently. You're lost in this clicking noise. And your eyes are blank as your whittling tool continues to shave off sliver after sliver. And you're not even really looking at your hands as they work this beautiful piece of burled oak into shape. And I gave you an image in Roll20 because I know Duke had written in a different wood. This is the director over right here. Excuse me. And so you have this, you see a picture. For those of you out there in audience land, if you don't know what burled wood looks like, you should Google it. It's very interesting, twisted up, psychedelic looking, and it's sort of hard. Oak is a hardwood anyway, and Daisy is typically not carving into a lot of hardwoods. She's got to be really into a project, I'm supposing, as a judgment on people who carve woods, that you would save that for the projects that you're really to put time in. And you seem to be holding your breath a little bit. I want you to make me an act under pressure roll. I kind of have control of you for just a moment here as I describe the situation that you're in.
Hey, there you go. A 6.
You were saving this piece of wood. Burled wood is expensive to buy. And it's even more difficult to find on your own. Pick a tree. You know what I mean? That was got a lot of branches. Maybe it's burled. Maybe it's not. So, Daisy, and I'm putting this on you because I see this in Daisy, that you saved this beautiful piece of twisted up wood. And I'll give you some time later to think about exactly what the twists and turns of that wood look like. But I am going to ask you, however, as you jab the tool into your thumb, thanks to a 6 roll, and you gasp for air, now realizing that you must have been holding your breath in some sort of trance, and that clicking noise hits those memories that you were just in, and you draw in a deep breath, cough out a little bit from catching your breath, and look at this thing that you're carving. You didn't know you were carving it, but now you do. And the question is, what is it that you're carving? I'm going to say that you're almost done with it. So it's not carved, but you tell me what it is.
In my hands, the burled wood is perfect for what I was working on. It's lacking in the details. I haven't quite gotten to that yet, but it's the bust of someone, a humanoid creature. Its body is as curvy as the wood itself. Its eyes are missing, and there's just soft concaves where they should be, slits for nose. Its mouth is open, and it looks like just an insane amount of sharp teeth going in circles, almost as if you can sort of see them moving in a whirring motion, and it is extending a hand, and the fingers are long, impossibly long, and in its palm, in an almost exaggerated size compared to the rest of this thin, gnarly, creepy looking creature, is a large eyeball. And its claws are curled around it, grasping it.
Since you already had something in your mind when I asked you that question. Maybe.
Not like I was.
Perhaps.
I was sitting here thinking, I was like, what am I carving? What am I carving?
Outstanding. That is what they see as the camera pulls away from you, Daisy, and we're going to leave you in that moment of Daisy looking down, having remembered some new stuff. The memories have come back to you that you hadn't thought of, and you don't even really know why you hadn't thought of them, but because you were asleep. Now you are starting to remember some things about things, especially in light of all of the stuff that you've been seeing around Providence lately. And it's beautiful because that means we're going to have a second Solo Daisy episode sometime down the road to see how the hell did you guys get out of those caves? But that was awesome.
It's an East 3.
We're going to end it there. And I want to thank you so much, Jaylee, for an awesome job help carrying me through this episode. I had a partial outline and a whole lot of journal entries that I've been combing through all afternoon, piecing some stuff in, and hoping to do, because this was your story, so we're trying to, do it justice, and you've done very well. And thank you so much for breathing life into it for us.
So over a year ago, when we first started discussing Heartland, and I came up with the idea for Daisy, I just had a moment of inspiration. So I'm really glad that we're putting these journals into the stream.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact,
makes me happy.
I will mention that. I'll go ahead and plug it since we're at the end. The journal entries from this event, and I believe it actually goes a little bit further than we went tonight. It was the ones that were supposed to be important to what we were doing tonight. Those are all on the website now, ttrptheater.com. If you go to the Heartland page, there's a couple of clicks to get there. You got to go down to the stuff we're working on now, click the thing that says Heartland, and then on the Heartland page, you'll see the link, and you can go read those. They are very well written, and I did just a little bit of editing for punctuation and some things, but pretty much they're word for word as Jaylee had written them and sent them to Duke and I. So I'm not saying that, you know,
I never quite finished them.
Right. We never, they haven't gone through an editor. It's raw stuff, but it is well written, and it is a creepy, cool story, and gives you a lot of insight into Daisy. That's how I felt good making some decisions for you along the way tonight. So that was really good. So I appreciate it. Thank you for coming along. Thanks to the audience, all of you out there, for watching live tonight. I really appreciate it. If you're watching later on demand, I thank you too. Please make sure you hit that little red subscribe button. YouTube apparently think that's very, very important for our success, and so if they say it, then I'm going to agree with it in that regard. So click it if you haven't. If you have, I appreciate it. My name is Curtis, Old Curtis VO on Twitter. I'm the Twitch director here and the media director for Helmgast and the KULT channel, executive director for TTRP Theater. I'm going to cut this down because I really feel like I'm tooting my own horn a lot there. A lot of titles. It just means I do all of this for free.
You ever watch Game of Thrones when the queen gets up there like, Daenerys Targaryen, Stormborn, breaker of chains, free slaver, rightful heir to the throne?
There's a meme.
That's what you are.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Yep, that's perfect. That's exactly it. We're doing lots of cool things. You can catch me live. I do a live stream as it was originally sold as a KULT discussion, but it's turned into more of just hey, come hang out with the KULT guys for a couple hours during the middle of the day, and let's chase marbles down various weird tracks. And it's turned into a lot of fun. We do a little bit of KULT discussion. We talk about the channel a lot, and we do race a lot of marbles. I do that at noon every day, every weekday, taking the weekend off for the most part. So lots of stuff. So come back for that. Blah, 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 blah. Make sure you visit the website, ttrptheater.com, for all that stuff and everything else that we do, even beyond and outside the KULT channel. And finally, let's see, did I cover all that stuff? Thanks to Helmgast for sponsoring the channel, for carrying us through this, giving us the opportunity to play around. We really appreciate it. And for those of you out there, there's more Helmgast stuff coming. This channel is exploding. If you haven't noticed, we've been playing Heartland, Jaylee, all week long. So people have been dropping in, and I'm just going to say this just because we're already over time and I'm in a good mood. And so I will say that somebody did pop in one time, because I keep it going, and was like kind of like flirting with Sabella in chat, like came in like, oh, hey Sabella, and then was like, kind of like the what you doing sort of, I'm paraphrasing, but there was a couple little chat entries like felt flirtatious to me. It was cute. I liked it. So there are people that do stop in and check in on the reruns, which is pretty good. I'm going to start up the next run, which will include this one, if it all works out right, and on the rotation, and that's going to keep running through tomorrow, so you'll get a couple chances to see it. This one will be up on YouTube sometime tomorrow evening, probably, maybe Sunday, because tomorrow is the new show on KULT, Gordian Solutions, tomorrow night at 5 Central, 6 p.m. Eastern is when that starts, and that is KULT in Space. It's the only way I can say that.
Oh my gosh. If they need a guest star, I love space.
He's got like 10 or 12 characters already. He's got like...
Oh my gosh.
If you want in, you're in. He's got a complete huge rotating. He's done what I did with Heartland and took this rotating cast idea and just went absolutely haywire with it. So that happens tomorrow evening. So come back and check that out. And then, I'll be back. It'll be regular schedule next week. And next Sunday, not this one day after tomorrow, but the next Sunday after that will be the Return of Wrath and Tears. And as I've said over and over and over again during the day, Sinners and Saints Season 2 is coming. It's slated for December 2nd. So that's what we're hoping for. But you'll see some teasers out about that probably already. I did put out one for Gordian Solutions and has discovered that there's a misspelling. I'm aware of it. I have sent a corrected one off to the people who are important. I just posted the wrong one in our chat. So don't fret too much. Finally, the last thing that I want to do is take just a moment to dedicate this episode and honor a member of the TTRP Theater family, and more specifically, the Duke Walter family. Tonight is for our friend Duck Sauce, who has departed this illusion, and I am sure is doing their thing, whatever that is. And from what I have heard about Duck Sauce, Daisy knows Duck Sauce better than I. I know he was well loved, but whatever it was that he did, or they did, I'm not even sure if it was a he. Now I'm embarrassing myself. Beyond the Veil. I'm trying to put a little cult spin on it, but tonight's for Duck Sauce. He was greatly loved, I know that, and he will be deeply missed. So this one's for that. And you too, Duke, we love you. Thanks again, everybody. Good night, sweet dreams, and we love you.
Good night, sweet dreams. We love you.
I'm about to.
It's so weird when only me says it.
I know.
Normally, it's a whole like it's like a choir.
I know, you did good. Good night, everybody. We love you.